The Village Barbershop was released in 2008. This is written and directed by Chris J. Ford, and we have a cast including John Ratzenberger and Shelly Cole. And it's because of Ratzenberger that I became aware of this, and I really needed to like it, not just because of Ratzenberger, but because, as far as I can tell, it's not available in the UK, so I had to import the DVD from the States. It wasn't tremendously expensive, but I guess I can look at this in two ways. Did I enjoy it as a Ratzenberger fan? And would I have enjoyed it as much, and am I happy to have spent the money on it if Ratzenberger hadn't been in it? And I will provide answers to that, but I won't give any spoilers for what happens in this because I do actually recommend it, whether or not it was worth the money. In fact, I will check how much I spend on it just for anybody who's interested. So I got it from eBay. It was about £20 or $25, which is not a tremendous amount of money, but obviously for one film, that is a considerable amount of money, all things considered. But it's Ratzenberger. I'm happy to have paid it. But if he wasn't in it, would I have been happy? Well, we'll see. This is about a barber. This is Ratzenberger's character, Art, and we learn that he's lost his wife. He's clearly not in the best of spirits. And he meets Gloria, played by Shelly Cole, who is also having a bit of a difficult time. And Art's barbershop might be bought out. It's not doing very well financially. And there might be an opportunity for Art and Gloria to work together, even though Art was very reluctant because he didn't want to hire a woman barber. But Gloria is very headstrong, very persistent. I think the character writing is fantastic. I think Art and Gloria are really well written, brilliant characters, both independently and when they're working together. I think that they are so fascinating. The performances are really brilliant. It was so easy to believe everything that I was seeing because the characters are so convincing. And I think that that is one of the best things about this film. With the narrative, it is good, but it's also quite slow at times. It's not necessarily full of padding. I wouldn't say there's a lot in this that didn't serve a purpose, but it is quite slow at times, and there's not a lot of variety in what's happening on screen. So it's not the kind of film I could watch at any point. I think it's a film that is ideal if you're in the mood for something that's gentle and quite tame, but with a couple of emotional moments. It's listed on IMDb as a comedy and a drama. And I feel like it's not that funny and it's not that dramatic. It kind of sits comfortably in between the two. It's a very pleasant experience. It's a very easy watch, but there are occasionally moments where the emotions are maybe a little bit more heightened, or at least my emotional response was a little bit stronger. So it's not the most amazing narrative. It does take a while to get that emotional payoff, but I'd say it's worth it. Now, to answer my own question, would I have enjoyed it as much if Ratzenberger wasn't in it? I'd say yes, but not for the amount I paid for it. This is purely based on the value I put on films and whether I think a film is worth this amount or that amount. To some people, it might not be a lot of money, but I tend to buy films secondhand. If I'm not renting them, I usually rent films because I don't keep DVDs because I'm a minimalist, and I'll only buy a DVD if it's the cheapest, or indeed in this case, the only option. This is in the UK, it could be streaming in the States, but unfortunately, being in the UK means that there are a lot of films I want to watch that are just not very readily available. This was one of them, and because I loved watching Ratzenberger, I don't mind having spent the money. But I am very willing to admit that had it not been Ratzenberger, even if it was somebody who gave just as good a performance, I think maybe I wouldn't have paid that much to see it unless it was really highly recommended by somebody. So for me, I'd say I'm very happy to have spent the money. I enjoyed the experience as a Ratzenberger fan. I probably would have not spent the money had it not been Ratzenberger, and I don't think I would have been missing out on too much based on the cost. But if you have access to this, or if you're a Ratzenberger fan, of course, or indeed Shelly Cole, then I'd say, yeah, it's worth the money. But if it's just a film where you're not really bothered about anybody who's in it, you don't know if the narrative's going to be for you, then maybe it might be worth watching if you've got access to it. Personally, though, yeah, I'm happy to have spent the money on it. Probably wouldn't have done if it was not Ratzenberger. But at the end of it, I felt satisfied with the experience. Very, very well written characters, great performances. generally quite tame. It's steady as well. I know I said it's got a slow pace at times, but it's also very steady. And if you start watching it and you think, yeah, this is the kind of vibe I'm looking for, this is the pace I'm looking for, then it is consistent. So that definitely works in the film's favour. It's not as if we have a steady pace and then a dramatically slow pace. It's consistent, which is to the film's credit. The performances, the character writing, absolutely to the film's credit. The camera works great, the music's really pleasant, no issues with anything there. And ultimately, it's a really sweet story, and I rather enjoyed it. As a Ratzenberger fan, definitely made me very happy, and I have no issues with having had to import it. Also, just as an aside, I absolutely love the colour of the marketing, the artwork for this. It's a really bright yellow. It's probably on screen at the moment, and it's mellow and pleasing and really fuzzy warmth. It reminds me of sunshine, and I hate the sun, so it's weird that I like it. But yeah, it's simple but effective and quite satisfying. So all things considered, I think I've rambled on enough. The Village Barbershop is an interesting story with some fantastically written characters, really great performances, and ultimately, it's definitely one that I'm happy to recommend.